Hey everybody, it's Cam. Let's talk some stocks. So it's still Sunday here, March 28th. This will be the third video of the day. Here's going to be all about electric vehicle sector. So we're going to be talking about Tesla, CCIV, so Lucid Motors RIDE, Lordstown, Workhorse, as they're connected to Lordstown, and then the Chinese EV market, Li, Xpeng XPEV, and then NIO. So first we're going to look at Tesla. Just want to point something out real quick on Thinkorswim. So we have these 2 days here with these really long candle wicks on the top. If you go down to the 4-hour chart and below, they don't exist. So it's just a misprint on Thinkorswim. It's probably from like a block trade or something in their whatever their charting software created an error around it. But if we go out to the weekly, so we're just going to look at the daily and weekly for all these companies. You see here the fib from the low. $3 pre-split, and then we go all the way up to the 900, which was the high in January, and then since then pretty significant sell-off. So like I said, the wick on the daily corresponds with this one candle on the first week of March. But we've had this considerable sell-off. Most EVs were selling off when the market started dropping, and then you had the news on the semiconductor chip shortage. So sold off pretty significantly. Tesla got all the way back down here to 550, but buyers came in at the 61.8 fib, pushes back up, right? So it pushes it back up to about 600. Next week opened, sold back down to the 550 level. Buyer came in, pushes all the way back up to 700 level, but at the 78.6 fib, couldn't break through that 9 EMA, and then the next week basically consolidated between the 9 and the 22, and then this last week retested the 9, gapped the week up on Monday, but sold off here later in the week below the 22. So right now, with that 9 downtrending, the overall market's picking back up, but EVs with that semiconductor shortage, we could see, a retest of this 550 level for Tesla going forward. You can see we're basing a lot of volume now here in the $600 area. If we go out to the daily, right, you see here basically pulled all the way back into these moving averages, and we just have been selling off them, right? So we got that initial retest, pulled back to the 9, gave it another attempt, can't get through it, just basically rode the 22 down, and then now the 9 is acting as overhead resistance. We did get some buying support here on Friday right at that $600 area, so that could be the first area to look at for buying support, right? We do have quite a bit of volume right at that $600 area as well. So look to see if we can get some buyers to come in this week if the stock market moves higher or looks to retest all-time highs, and then obviously you still have the 10-year Treasury yield weighing on things. So look to see if that stays muted or at least calm from the news that was released Friday that sent the markets higher right before the close. So next we go to CCIV, so Churchill Capital Group, right? So merged with Lucid. Let's go back out to the weekly. Here, get all the way to 64.86. Then news came out that the merger pass went through, and we had this massive sell-off. So huge sell-off all the way back down. Basically retest the 23.6 area. All right, so the green is from 9.6 to the high. The red is basically from this low that we put in here. Beginning of March, so we got down to 20.4. Got a basically inside candle, so another inside bar candle play. Look to break that high. We break through the 9 EMA, get back up to the 38.2 level. Sellers can come in, smack this thing back down, and then basically had a big sell-off this week. But again, buyers are looking to support this low 20s area. You see a huge amount of volume here, right at that $21 area, where buyers came in, else corresponding with the 22 EMA right now. So if we go back out to the daily, right, we see here big doji candle, right, but right at the an area of interest. So play on doji too, on dojis as well, is if you get a doji candle, you're looking for the next candle's direction. So if the next candle goes red, you're looking for a move down. If the next candle's green, you're looking for that move to go higher. So we get a red candle, which is another doji, so now you have double doji. So then really looking at the next candle, and that's red, so that sends us down even lower. And you look right now again, well, we had to close on Friday another doji indecision candle right at the 23.6 fib. So we're going to be looking very closely at the price action for Monday. So if this thing opens lower, looks to go lower, could have an extended move down. We might, potentially retest this low here at 20.4. If we can break through that, we're probably going to go test this 200 EMA down in the teens, set a new low. But if we open green, right, first area is we're going to have to get back above this 9 EMA, and that's sitting at 25 bucks right now, and then push through the other downtrending moving averages going forward. So look to see the price action, pre-market and on the open for Monday for CCIV. And then next we'll look at RIDE. So RIDE had, the accusations of fraud on their accounting. I think it was Hindenburg that actually came out the report. But so that news came out. They had their earnings report. They try to squash it, but still selling off pretty significantly. You see here now we broke below this pullback, so there's a lot of lines on here. So I had this ascending line of support from previous electric vehicle video I did last month. We broke through that at the end of February, and then have been really using the 9 EMA acting as resistance above. Significant sell-off off the break of this trend line from 24. We got all the way down to 11 bucks, so you could have made a 50% move right there on a short. But really now this red line is invalidated because we have a new low, so we'll remove that one out. So if we keep pushing down, we could go see a retest on RIDE down to 9.5 unless they can put out some PR or squash that the report on their accounting fraud, whether they can get around that or prove that such things didn't exist. So we'll look at Workhorse next, as Workhorse does have an ownership in RIDE. So again, do have lines on here from the previous videos. See in the weekly, so it's similar just with RIDE as it did have that oh yeah, bad click, the ascending support line. Got a crack through that, pretty significant, right? So that huge drop in 1 week when the Workhorse didn't get the USPS contract to make their fleet electric vehicles. So considerable sell-off. So we went from 42.96 down to 12 bucks in 3 weeks. We had a $20 range in 1 week alone, and then we're basically consolidating down here in the teens, right, from 12.5 up to 17.5, right? So we've wicked off 12.5 3 times now. Buyers push this thing back up to the 1750 level. Sellers come in, push this lower. As you see, right, we've got a lot of volume above in that $16.75, $17 area, and that's acting as a weight overhead, a resistance above, pushing the stock down. So obviously chart is not looking like a very bullish setup, but we could see a continued sell-off, maybe get down here to this $11 low. We might fill that gap a little bit, but we could form a double bottom here around this 23.6 fib. If we go look at the daily, all right, so daily still downtrending long term. So we made that move down, right? So then basically hugged back up to the 9 EMA. 9 EMA still weighing heavy on it, pushes it slower. So here, just looking on the daily, we do have this hammer candle again. So if we do sell off, we're obviously going to look for buyers to support this $12 area once more. So next we'll go to, where's my list? The Chinese plays. So let's start with NIO first, which is the larger of them. So still lines from previous videos up, but NIO, just like the others, has been having a sizable sell-off, right? So we sold off down all the way to 32 bucks essentially on its earnings. Its announcements that they they didn't get as many vehicles out as they wanted. They're having some funding issues, and I believe they had to raise some capital too. So that sold us off pretty low. Buyers came in the low 31s. The day that it bounced back was a big green day in the market, and then the next week got this inside candle, pushes back up into the $46 area. So right there's essentially a 50% swing in 1 week, and then next week couldn't get above that $46 area once more, so we sell off, right? So still have the 9 EMA above acting as resistance, 22, and then we pinged off this 50% fib level. Buyers came in, held that 50% fib right at 34, and we do have the 50 below to act as support as well. But here looking at volume, we do have a lot of volume in the low 40s. So if we do get a bullish move out of NIO, you need a lot of volume to move us back through that low $40 area. We'll look at the daily, somewhat similar chart to the others on the curl down. All right, so really using that 9 as overhead resistance. Get that big move here on 3.5. 3.5 is really corresponding for just about everything. So cannabis, Bitcoin, all of them had kind of a reversal day there. Get the inside bar play the next day. Roll. It breaks above the high of that inside bar, go long. Right, we pull back into the 22 EMA. Can't break through. Now we're riding the 9. Sell off the 9 EMA, and then here it looks like we're going to try to use that 200 day moving average as support. Still getting a little, a hammer candle here, so buyers are protecting that $34 area. And we just look at the volume, high volume day on Friday, a lot of buyers in that candle. So it's a good sign that we could potentially push back up to retest this 9 EMA this week, maybe even on Monday on the open. Next we'll go to Lee. Got all these lines on here, right? So somewhat of a similar story, right? So breaks through the ascending support line, and then here still we do have the downward line from that triangle in place too. So we tried to sell up into that line, couldn't get through it, and we sell off. But similar chart play, right? So again, Lee had some negative movement down, leaving the red one on here. You see we sold all the way down to that 127 extension. Buyers came in, held that level, right? So both weeks here we closed above that 23.6 from the long-term move. So buyers are really protecting that 23.6 area, and you can see that from this week too. So we pushed back down to that 23.6. Buyers come in, pushes back up higher, and tried to close right about that 50-week moving average. Go check the daily. Right, so it's kind of a similar pattern to NIO as well. So riding that 9 down, March 5th, get that hammer candle, push us up higher, get back into the 22. We actually get a break above the 22, but can't get through the 38.2 fib, pushes back down, and then somewhat similar to NIO, still a higher volume candle on a Friday with a lot of buyers. So we could look to go push back up into these moving averages to retest them. And if we just look at the volume in that area, right, so we do have quite a bit of volume here that has been aggregated between 25 and 26 bucks. So we'll need a high volume day to push us through that. And then lastly, we'll look at Xpeng. So XPEV is the ticker. Chart should be very similar to Lee, right? Didn't get that extended move back up yet. Ascending line here, which was drawn on the daily, on the weekly candle, we bust through it, sell off. Buyers come in at the 127.2 extension down, also corresponds to this 200 weekly EMA, pushes us back up, try to retest that prior swing low at the 100 fib, and can't get through it, right? So we gapped up higher originally this week, but sellers came in really hard, knocked us down. We also, corresponding with EMAs at that level, so there was a lot of resistance, at that $38, $39 area to start this last week. Do have a lot of volume in the mid 30s, but we'll look to see if the $30 area here will hold as buyers came in later this week, which we'll see here on the daily. Right, so again, pretty significant sell-off. Right, didn't even really test the 9 EMA to go higher until we get that hammer candle, like the others on the 5th. And then move back higher, get back into the moving averages. Chart's almost exactly the same as Lee, just in terms of where we're hitting at on these EMAs, and then we sell off, but a little bit weaker on Friday, right? So less volume, less buyers, and it's also an inside candle. So we have an inside bar candle play for Monday, right? So if we break above 33.05, we're going to look to go long. If it breaks below 31.08, we're going to look to go short on it. So got set up there for XPEV. At least we'll look to see if the EV stocks will follow the main markets this week, as you know, potentially we could be testing or setting new all-time highs in the stock market with inflation fears fading. So that's what I got for you guys in this video. Hope you got something out of it. If you have any other companies you'd like me to look at, please let me know. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.